I'm Bobbi DeMontigny, and this is a MSL Learn webinar series for March 14th, and we are going to do a little bit of an Aspen overview. Yeah. The purpose, plan, and resources. We are establishing a predictable and reliable schedule of short online sessions to help potential participants plan continuing education. We're hoping to provide timely and regular updates on MSL programs and provide regular opportunities for MSL staff to get feedback from participants. So each month we will be doing MSL programs and topics on the second Tuesday, and on the last Tuesday is a tiny tech training. Today is kind of a little bit of both, actually, because we'll be doing Aspen, which is a little bit more techy than some of the other topics. And Aspen stands for Access to Services, Programs, and E-Networks. This product provides a variety of services for Montana's library community. Members of the public can search Aspen to find a nearby library or learn more about their local library. Library directors, trustees, and staff can log into Aspen to do much more based on whatever level of their administrative responsibility is within their institution. At the top here, I've got a link that'll take you right to Aspen. If you wanted to bookmark that at some point, that would probably be really helpful. And I will also make sure that's in the chat. So it's very easy to get help in Aspen. You can do this by opening up a help desk ticket. Our help desk ticket is monitored regularly, and someone, and when it comes to Aspen, it's probably me, will usually respond pretty quickly. It's best to open a ticket rather than to send an email to an individual, because there are backup people available to monitor tickets in case the primary person is on vacation or out sick or something like that. There are a couple of places you can click in Aspen, either the big yellow question mark right on the front page, or in the sidebar, you'll see Aspen Help. I've got that highlighted there. If you're on the MSL website, most of the services to libraries page have links to the help desk at the bottom, and that's another place you can go to be directed to open up a help desk ticket. When you first get on to Aspen, you'll want to log in on the main page, and you'll know if things are working properly if you see a user home listed in your role menu. You probably won't see some of these other things. This is more often MSL admin stuff, but this user home is pretty important for you to be able to get in. It's been a while, but if you are not aware, the state shifted its authentication from ePass to Okta. So everyone in ePass would have received an email about this a long time ago. If you did not use the activation link that was provided in that email, your Aspen credentials might not work right. And again, if you don't see this user home here in your role menu, you'll know that something might be amiss, and it's time to open up a help desk ticket. When you're opening up your account, you start with the login. Then this long, skinny screen will open up with the window to sign in. And at the bottom, it says to sign up if you don't already have an account. So if you don't have an account with Okta, you'll want to sign up for that. Then you'll get an activation email. It looks like this in your email inbox. It'll come from Okta to activate the account. If you don't see it, you'll want to check your spam folders, your junk mail, stuff like that. And then once you click on the activate account, you should get a notification that your account's ready to go. And I have a short little video here that shows that whole process in action. Next, let's set up an account and log in. Start the process by opening up Aspen. On the Aspen homepage, click the Login button on the right-hand side of the screen. You will be directed to a sign-in registration page. At the very bottom of the sign-in box, there will be an area to sign up. You will be prompted to sign up with a unique email and password. You should know Okta identifies people by their email. If you and other library staff or trustees share an email address, make sure to discuss who will use the primary email and who needs to create a new one. If this poses a problem and you need suggestions or guidance, please open a help desk ticket. Once your credentials have been accepted by the system, you should see a verification that the email was sent. Now you can check your email and confirm that the verification arrived and activate your account. Depending on your settings and other details, you may have to check your spam or junk mail to find this email. This activation will be good for 7 days. If you've gone past 7 days without activating your account, you will need to request a new verification email with a help desk ticket. Click Register to complete this process and be routed to the front page of Aspen. Once you're on the front page of Aspen, make sure you're logged in. You can tell this because it'll say welcome and your name. For right now, you might not have any roles. This step needs to be completed by your manager or director in cooperation with MSL staff. They will add your position and job title to their organization page, and then MSL technical support will associate the personal account that you just made to the one that your director added. At that point, the process will be complete and you will gain access to the rest of the features in Aspen. So that always helps to show the video because I can show that from the perspective of a fake user who doesn't have all the admin stuff. So you can see what that would look like if you were to log in and do that. So these are the things that I really want everyone to know how to do in Aspen. I'd like people to be able to visit the Aspen knowledge base, open a help desk ticket, update your information, get to know the events calendar, register for an event, find supplemental meeting materials, select a continuing education track, add continuing education credits, search Aspen for organizations and people, try out the legacy search option, and look at different committees. There is a lot of information on this in our knowledge base that was my very first step on here that I'd like people to know how to do, and it walks people through that. And we are very close to finishing an Aspen course in MSL Learn that will take you step by step through many of these processes. Directors should be able to add employees, remove employees, change employees' position information, add library images, change library hours, and change trustees and board members. You can also request a designee be given permission to do some of these things. Just make sure to open a help desk ticket and ask me to give staff members those permissions. If you have gone through the process of logging in and any of the things that I've put on the list and you're still having trouble after reviewing the materials, please open up a ticket and we're happy to help. So now I want to talk to you about searching in Aspen. It's one of the easier things you can do in there, and it's pretty simple to demonstrate. I'm starting with the organizations section, and under organizations, you can see that all of the organizations line up in alphabetical order here. Once you click on one of them, it displays more. So you can see the different projects that each organization participates in. You can find links to more information about it, the standard contact information, and the organization website and catalog. Under positions and people, again, everything will line up, but this time you have a position search. And I always recommend scrolling to the bottom of that and selecting all to get everything to load. And the reason I like that is because it goes very fast. Anyone who's spent a lot of time in Aspen knows that if you're doing a search for a person by this name, position, title, etc., it does help you get down to the precise person, but it can take a while. So it has just so many different people to go through that it does take a minute to load. What's nice about doing it this way is they all just load up, and then you can find it very fast with the scroll bar down the side. When you find a person this way, you may see them in there twice, and that's because they'll have different roles. So for instance, I am Montana Library Network Technical Support, but I'm also a committee member. And you'll see that with different people who have lots of different things that they do in different libraries or on different committees. Remember, this is why it's so important to ensure that what you're putting into Aspen is accurate, because the information other people are getting out is only as accurate as the information that our library staff and directors include. Now, in this example, I like to say, let's say somebody gave you a message that Tracy from the Montana State Library called and they want to call back. This person did not take down a very thorough message. They didn't give you Tracy's phone number or anything else. You just have that to go off of. But in Aspen, under the advanced search, you can put in a first name, you can put in where they work, and it will pull it up and give you everything you need to know when you click on the link. Additionally, in the advanced search, you can look for certain things, very like simple statistics and things. In this example, I'm showing a position type of director has been added. And then I want to see all of the directors who are responsible for courier statistics. When I run that report, I see that there are 755 people who meet that criteria. And then I can export those results to Excel and have that handy. And I'll be showing some examples of some of this here before we wrap up too. So I talked about the knowledge base articles. We offer help and resources in that form. Let's see. Oh, let me go one more. Nope, my link wasn't working. Okay, hang tight. I will just pull them up. So this is what our knowledge base looks like. And we have different knowledge base sections for different things. We've got the Montana History Portal, statewide projects, library program resources, the Montana Shared Catalog, and Aspen. Under Aspen, there are guides to doing all sorts of different things, logging in, managing your account. I like to call your attention to the Aspen login recovery. This one's really important because if somebody loses their login credentials and they can't get in there, if they choose to make a secondary Aspen account, it can often get things very confusing, especially when it comes to the CE credit. And we want to keep everything on the same account. So do make sure to use the Aspen login recovery steps instead of creating a whole new Aspen account. There's information about continuing education in the events calendar. And at the director level, there are links to guides on how to add positions, update organizations, what to do when you get a new employee, all of those important things you need to know for those administrative things within Aspen. I will also be doing some additional trainings in the technology CE category. We're calling them the tiny tech trainings. I mentioned that at the very beginning. And at the end of this month, I'll be doing some work with Overdrive. In April, we'll be doing some more Aspen, May some more Overdrive, and I'm kind of toggling it through a couple of different things with Aspen and Overdrive dotted throughout the entire year. And then at the very end of the year, I'll be doing a lot with Montana History Portal because they're going through some updates and things, and they should be all up and ready for some nice trainings and such by then. All right, so now I am opening it up for questions, and I can show some demonstration stuff. So, oh, Colette, you're muted.
Casey, if you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you. We always learn from the questions that our participants bring to us. So if there's anything on your mind, please do feel free to unmute and ask the question.
I don't know if I have any like specific or questions. This was just a nice refresher since I had gotten my certification a couple of years ago, and I'm working on another one. I did notice that my login information is still my old email, and our library just went through like a tech migration. Is there a way to change that to my new email, or do I have to just submit a ticket for that?
Yeah, if you submit a ticket, I can help with that. I can just run something on the back end. It's usually a pretty quick fix.
Oh, so I noticed I still get emails. I did change where I get my email notifications, so I have it to my new one, but I'm still getting stuff to the old account that I no longer use. I would check that every like once a month.
Oh yeah. I'll get that fixed up for you for sure.
Okay. And another thing I was noticing, I was looking just to see when you showed each of like in the organizations, how you can look at each library or who the staff are.
Mm-hmm.
My job title, actually, it's listed correctly under my profile, but not under the organization name. So that'd be for the Belgrade Community Library.
Great.
I guess these are more specific than general questions.
That's okay.
No, these are great examples. So it's nice to be able to kind of demonstrate what this looks like.
Yeah. Oh, and I guess I should ask too, while I'm doing this, since we're recording it, do you have any problem with me using your questions in future trainings?
Not at all.
Okay. All right. So is it here that you're?
Yeah, so mine's listing me as a circulation specialist. My title is just a circulation aide, but on my account, it does say circulation aide.
Okay. Yeah, that's another thing that can be updated. Usually your director is the person who's supposed to be updating that unless Gil's got a designee in place to do that for her.
Okay.
But yeah, that is something that can be updated, and technically we can do that too, but just to make sure everyone's on the same page and the director and the staff and everybody agrees on what they're supposed to be called, we try to leave that to them.
Okay. Yeah, because I know some job titles have been changing throughout the year, and so I was looking just to see that our information was current.
Yeah, so if there are others too, you guys might need to chat and just make sure that everything's looking the way it's supposed to.
Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing maybe one other one that would need to be updated. So, okay, I will talk with her about that.
Great. Any
can't
other
think of
questions?
Can't think of any other specific questions. I mean, it was nice having you go through the a couple of the sections just to show, because I typically, if I'm going to go on here, I go to events or my continuing education.
Right. Yeah, I've been trying to kind of tackle a few of these other things just to give people a little bit more of a look at it. And we did just have a session about the community continuing education recently. I'll show you committees. This one's kind of neat because you can see all of the committees that are part of the Montana State Library, current and past. And I will use the Library Commission as the example because this one and the NAC and some of the older, larger committees have really nice web pages associated with them as well. So from here, you can see their home, which is where we're at, the members, meeting dates, meeting materials, different activities that are recurring, the resolutions, statutes, there's an archive and a membership list, and there's a place where you can decide you want to serve with the committee. Very similarly is the NAC. Got a nice page as well. They don't get a picture though, it looks like. So that is a handy thing to know about if you're ever wanting to know what's going on. And we also have other subcommittees that you'll see when they're looking for members. They'll put that out in the different newsletters and things on Wired. And I also said I would demonstrate that export to Excel feature. Let's do this one. And right there, actually, if I wanted to get everybody who comes up, I could just do that. But I can also show the advanced filter and choose whether or not I'm just looking for people with an MLS. Which is a good one. And then there's the legacy page. So here, if I just want all of the people at, well, keep picking on Belgrade, I guess. Let's see. And do the search and export the results. And they all pop right up as long as you've got Excel. And when you have this many things all crammed in, your numbers start looking a little funny. So what I like to do is go into my format and auto fit column width. Oops, I do need to select them all before I do that. And that way you can see all of the stuff without it being all.
This would be a nice thing to do, like Casey, if you're seeing some updates that need to be made to the records for your organization, download that Excel spreadsheet, and that's kind of a worksheet you could use to just take a look holistically and then have that plan to correct the information that needs to be corrected. That's just one use that I would see for being able to download that contact information for your organization.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to show that, because that will definitely be something that's an advantage to have.
Okay. And just to get through the last of that, we have some information and news sources. If you haven't already subscribed, there's the MSL website, MSL newsletters, the help desk, events calendar, our YouTube channel, where all of these are going to be posted when they're done. And you can also email or reach out to any of us.
I put links in the chat to all of those things. We'd love it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll see any new videos that are posted. And then we have lots of things organized according to playlist that are topical. And then, as always, we really appreciate it when you can give us your feedback on our presentations. I'll put that link in the chat as well. We like to know what you think and how we can be helpful, and how we can improve for future presentations like this. So you can snap the QR code or access the link in the chat as well. And Bobbi, you can take it home.
Okay. And yeah, thank you very much for coming to this. And yes, be sure to fill out the survey and look me up with a help desk ticket if you need any help. And now I'm going to stop the recording. And if you think of any other little things that you want to ask about, that will be your time. Just give me a sec here. Maybe I will do that. There it is.